Hi, so I'm just going to talk you through the paper making. So you will have some instructions, but sometimes it's clearer to see them with the instructions. So I have some pulp that I prepared earlier. I've already got some in my bowl of water. It's about 3/4 full of water, but I've already got some pulp in there, so I'm not really going to add any more just yet. But when you do it for the first time, you'll probably have 2 big handfuls of pulp to put into your bowl. And then we have job number 1, which is the stirrer. It has a tendency to sink the pulp, so it's heavy, so it sinks to the bottom, so the stirrer has to stir it round so it's all mixed well in the water. Then you have job number 2, the dipper. So the dipper has to take the frame and decal. You've got two bits. One has this white mesh on it, and notice it has a different colour side as well. So this one with the mesh has to go on the bottom and the pink side facing up. And this empty one goes on top. So the dipper has to push it down, lift it up, and then count to about 20, nice and slowly as well. You're not going to drip any faster the faster you count. You count to 20 slowly, just so that the water can drip out. Try and keep it quite level. Maybe you could give it a little shake, but just make sure it doesn't slip around the pulp. Otherwise you get a hole in your paper. Letting it drip out back into the bowl. And then you're going to place it down. Then you have a cloth. You're going to place nice and flat on the table. And you place the frame onto the cloth. Notice I'm only doing it at the edges. Now this is the bit that people often forget, taking the top bit off. Take the top bit off. So this is the flipper's job, to put it onto the cloth and flip the cloth over. It's nice and flat so it doesn't drag along the pulp. Otherwise, again, you get holes in it. And here it's folded over. We're just going to flip it nice and quickly over. So the pulp should be between the mesh, the bottom of the mesh and the cloth. So if you haven't got it that way, something's gone wrong and you might have to start again. So then it's the sponger's job. Sponger will sponge about 3 times, squeezing out each time in between the water back into the bowl. Get into the corners. And this is not just to take the water out, but to flatten it as well. So then we have job number 5, the mover. The mover has to carefully take this off. Sometimes it can be a bit sticky, so if it is a bit sticky, just use your sponge to sponge a bit more. And then you can have a little look, make sure it's coming away from your cloth. Oh, there you go. Oh, lovely. So I have my scrap paper ready. And then I can pick up the cloth and place it carefully so you don't miss the scrap paper on top of the scrap. So the mover gets it onto the paper, moves it onto the scrap paper. Then you have the peeler's job, the last job, the peeler. So you're going to start to pull the cloth away using your fingers to ease the pulp off the cloth and onto the paper. So that's what we're doing now, is trying to get the cloth off the recycled paper. And then you take it away nice and slowly, make sure it doesn't rip. Squeezing the cloth out, ready for the next piece of paper that you're going to do. And then we have it. We have a lovely piece of recycled paper. This one's nice and colourful. I haven't pulped it down a lot, so I can still see some words, some colours. So it's all individual. And it's also dark, but as it dries, so what you're going to do, you're going to let it dry for about 2 days. And once it dries, I have a piece over here I can show you. Once it dries, you can peel it off the scrap paper. Let me just take those off. You can peel it off the scrap paper and you have a lovely piece of recycled paper. You can write on it, you can cut shapes out of it. And it's best to try and dry it flat, maybe near a radiator. But if it's flat or one of those grid things that you have in art classrooms, once it's, because as it dries, it will dry in the shape that you've dried it in. So fantastic. Enjoy baking your paper.